Welcome, welcome, welcome to episode 310 of the show with no name. I'm your humble host, Nick, and in today's episode, we're going to be back out at the Cementerio Villa Nevarez out here in Puerto Rico. And this is a special War Heroes episode because when I was walking through this cemetery, I found a number of men that died in battle that are buried here. And I'm going to talk about 6 of them today in this episode. Private Jose Luis Velez was born on May 19, 1943 in Puerto Rico. He was an infantryman in C Company, 2nd Battalion, 27th Infantry Regiment, 25th Infantry Division. He was killed in action by sniper fire on November 4th, 1966, in Vietnam. He was just 23 years old. Private Jose Ortiz Negron was born on October 4th, 1948, in San Juan. He was just 20 years old when he was killed in action in Vietnam on November 24th, 1968. Leonardo Velasquez Jr. was born on February 20th, 1947 in Puerto Rico. He served in Company E, 4th Battalion, 31st Infantry, 196th Infantry Brigade. On March 22, 1969, a helicopter was on approach at Landing Zone West on Hill 45 with 35 troops on board when it lost power, crashed, and caught fire. 8 men were killed and 14 were wounded, and the aircraft was completely destroyed. Leonardo died that day from injuries he sustained. He was only 22 years old. Private First Class Luis Rodriguez Cotto was born on June 15, 1949. He was killed in Vietnam on July 30th, 1969. He was just 20 years old. Reinaldo Zayas Castro was born on February 10, 1941 in Puerto Rico. He was a specialist 4th class in the United States Army. He was just 25 years old when he was killed in action in Vietnam on May 4th, 1966. Last but not least, I'm going to talk about Pablo Ramirez. And he was born on November 2nd, 1926, and he would pass away at the young age of 24 on January 31st, 1951 in South Korea. I have no pictures of him or his headstone out here at the cemetery, but I know that he's buried here, and he was a Silver Star recipient, and I actually found his citation, and it reads, "The President of the United States of America, authorized by Act of Congress on July 9, 1918, takes pride in presenting the Silver Star posthumously to Second Lieutenant Pablo Ramirez in the United States Army for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity in action while serving with Company A, 1st Battalion, 65th Infantry Regiment, 3rd Infantry Division." On January 31st, 1951, Lieutenant Ramirez led his platoon in an assault on Hill 449 in Korea. In the initial phase of the assault, an enemy mortar barrage killed one of the men of the platoon and wounded 2 others. The platoon was disorganized by the terrific barrage, but Lieutenant Ramirez immediately reorganized his men and continued the attack on the hill in spite of the mortar and small arms fire. He discovered 2 wounded men and evacuated them. Upon reaching a third man, he was killed by a second mortar barrage. The bravery and gallantry displayed by Lieutenant Ramirez was an inspiration to his men and exemplifies the highest traditions of military service.